It was a quiet Sunday afternoon in the sprawling penthouse of billionaire industrialist Jonathan Hale, a man whose wealth rivaled the skyline itself. The floors gleamed under the polished sunlight, and every room smelled faintly of imported oils and expensive flowers. But in one corner of the mansion, a scene was unfolding that would challenge everything Hale thought he knew about loyalty, innocence, and the unexpected power of joy. In the grand lounge, Lila, his paralyzed teenage daughter, sat in her wheelchair, staring out the window at the city below. Her world had shrunk to this room after a tragic accident 2 years prior. But today, something stirred, a whisper of life, a spark she hadn't felt in months. The maid's daughter, Amira, a sprightly girl with a warm smile and a fearless curiosity, stepped into the room. She noticed Lila staring at the ceiling and, without hesitation, began moving to a rhythm only she could hear, a soft, playful dance designed to coax laughter, movement, and even a smile. Jonathan Hale, returning unexpectedly from a meeting, stopped dead in the doorway. What he saw stunned him. Amira had reached out to Lila, guiding her hands and legs in a gentle, rhythmic sway. For the first time in months, Lila's lips curled into a smile, her eyes lit up with joy, and she laughed, a sound Hale hadn't heard in years. But Hale's initial shock quickly shifted to confusion. How had a maid's daughter, someone from the margins of his household, managed to elicit this response from Lila? He had instructed every caregiver on safety, on routine, on restraint. Yet here was Amira breaking every rule with a fearless grace. And then came a subtle, almost imperceptible detail that made his heart stop. The maid's daughter had coordinated Lila's movements with precision that mirrored professional physical therapy, yet was entirely playful, entirely instinctive. How could she possibly know? Who had taught her? And why now? Hale's footsteps echoed through the mansion as he approached. His face was a mask of authority, mixed with disbelief. What is happening here? He demanded, voice sharp yet trembling with a mix of worry and awe. Amira froze mid-step, but her eyes remained calm. Sir, I'm just helping Lila have some fun, she said softly. Her tone carried neither fear nor guilt, only a quiet confidence that made Hale pause. Lila giggled, reaching toward Amira as if to anchor herself in the moment. I can move, she whispered, voice trembling with excitement. Jonathan Hale's hands trembled as he set the letter on the polished mahogany table. His eyes darted between Lila, who was still laughing softly, and Amira, whose expression remained composed yet strangely knowing. The words on the page were cryptic but alarming. They hinted at a hidden connection between the maid's daughter and the accident that had left Lila paralyzed. Amira, Hale began, voice firm but quivering. Do you know anything about this? Amira's gaze didn't waver. Sir, I don't know what's in the letter, but I do know Lila needs to move, to laugh, to feel alive. That's all I want. But Hale noticed something that didn't fit. Amira moved with uncanny precision, anticipating Lila's gestures before she made them. Every sway, every reach, every shift of the wheelchair was synchronized perfectly, as if she had studied the accident, the therapy sessions, and Lila's limitations without ever being formally trained. How could a teenage maid's daughter know so much about Lila's condition? And then came the subtle inconsistency that shook him even further. A tiny scar on Amira's wrist, barely visible, but familiar. Hale had seen the same scar, somewhere years ago, in documents related to the hospital and a mysterious patient who had been involved in Lila's accident. Hale felt a surge of conflicting emotions, gratitude for the joy Amira had brought, fear over the implications of the letter, and an unfamiliar sense of doubt. Could this young girl, who had stolen a smile from his daughter, also be hiding dangerous secrets? Before he could speak further, the mansion security system chimed sharply, alerting him to movement outside the lounge. Hale froze. No staff should have been in the restricted hallway at this hour, and yet the cameras revealed a shadowy figure pacing, watching the room intently. Amira noticed the subtle tension too. She stepped closer to Lila, keeping her body between the girl and the unseen observer. Don't worry, she whispered. I've got this. Her voice carried a confidence that seemed beyond her years, as if she had faced danger before, and somehow she had anticipated Hale's concerns. Jonathan Hale stared at the photograph, his mind racing. The man beside young Amira was unmistakable. Dr. Leonard Vale, a neurologist who had been involved in Lila's care immediately after her accident. The implications were staggering. Why was Amira connected to this man? And why had no one ever mentioned her before? Lila's wheelchair squeaked softly as she turned her head, sensing the tension in the room. "Daddy, what's wrong?" she asked, her voice fragile yet curious. Hale's throat tightened. "It's complicated, sweetheart," he said, his eyes flicking between Amira and the photograph. "More complicated than I can explain right now." Amira remained calm, almost unnervingly so. Hale noticed a subtle tremor in her fingers, not from fear, but from the weight of long-held secrets. And then he realized something he hadn't before: the precision in her movements with Lila, the understanding of her limitations. It wasn't just instinct. It was years of silent observation and possibly training that she never admitted to anyone. The letter on the table contained a cryptic warning. "The past never forgets. What you think you know about the girl is only the beginning." Suddenly, the mansion's intercom crackled. "Mr. Hale, please come to the study immediately. It's urgent." The voice was unfamiliar, urgent, and authoritative. Hale's pulse quickened. He gestured to Amira. "Stay with Lila," he said, masking the storm of questions swirling in his mind. "Do not let anyone near her." As Hale hurried down the hallway, he realized the stakes were far higher than he imagined. The intercom had activated a series of encrypted messages, hinting at corporate espionage, medical secrets, and even blackmail, all somehow tied to Lila's accident and Amira's hidden past. A loud crash echoed to the mansion, followed by the sharp click of a lock being forced. Hale's heart raced. Whoever was inside the house wasn't just looking for information. They were hunting, and they had inside knowledge of the mansion's layout. He raced back toward the lounge, only to see Amira standing protectively in front of Lila. The maid's daughter was no longer quiet, cheerful girl from earlier. Her eyes were steely, her stance deliberate, almost trained. Hale froze. He hadn't realized that Amira had been trained in self-defense and tactical awareness, skills that explained the precision he had witnessed during her interactions with Lila. The intruder appeared, a tall man in a dark suit, face obscured by shadows. He moved with purpose, heading straight for the desk where Hale had found the documents connecting Amira's family to Dr. Vale. The man's actions were precise, calculated, as if he had rehearsed this intrusion for months. Amira stepped forward, placing herself squarely in the intruder's path. Without a word, she disarmed him with a series of swift, controlled movements, punches, blocks, and flips honed from years of disciplined training. Hale watched in stunned silence, realizing that the girl he had thought of as fragile and innocent was capable of protecting Lila and herself against a professional threat. Dr. Leonard Vale stood at the top of the grand staircase, his eyes cold and calculating. Hale's mind raced. This was a man responsible for Lila's paralysis, the man whose hidden manipulations had spanned years, and now he was here in the mansion, orchestrating chaos as if it were a game. Amira stepped forward, shielding Lila with a protective stance that was precise, disciplined, and fearless. Hale felt a mix of awe and fear. She wasn't just offending Lila, she was confronting the man who had shaped so much of their lives. Vale spoke slowly, almost mockingly. "You've all been pieces in a puzzle you didn't even understand. And now, the truth comes out. Amira, you're far more capable than anyone imagined." Hale's eyes widened. What do you mean?" Vale smirked. "Her family and I, we were connected long before this accident. She has inherited more than just skill. She has insight, intelligence, and a strength you could never predict. I trained her from afar, and now she chooses where her loyalty lies." Hale's pulse quickened. The revelation hit hard. Amira's presence in the mansion was never accidental. She had been groomed to act, and her choices had let her protect Lila, defying the man who had trained her. Vale lunged, but Amira moved with lightning speed. Blocks, counters, and precise strikes disarmed him, forcing him to stumble back against the staircase railing. Lila watched wide-eyed as Amira's calm determination neutralized the threat. Hale, finally stepping in, restrained Vale until security arrived, ensuring no further harm could come to his daughter. In that charged moment, Hale realized something profound. The girl he had underestimated, The maid's daughter he had almost doubted was the key to justice and protection, and she had proven that courage and skill could triumph over years of manipulation and secrecy. As the dust settled, Hale looked at Lila and Amira. He understood a truth that wealth and power could never buy. True strength comes from discipline, compassion, and the courage to act in the face of fear. Those who seem powerless can, in fact, shape destiny in ways the mighty never anticipate. Just as Hale began to breathe easier, Amira's phone buzzed with a cryptic message. "You've won this round, but the game has only begun." Hale's eyes narrowed. Lila's grip tightened on Amira's hand, and for the first time, Hale realized the mansion's battle had ended, but a far larger, more dangerous game was about to unfold. Subscribe for more interesting and powerful stories.